Carlos Alcaraz reveals the reason behind his victory over FRITZ. Carlos Alcaraz defeated Taylor Fritz in a very tight match that was ultimately decided thanks to the Spaniard's great improvement from the second half of the second set onward, when suddenly everything started to work much better for him. This Tuesday, Carlos Alcaraz returned to the court at the ATP Finals for his second match of the tournament, facing Taylor Fritz, probably the toughest opponent in his group. A victory would give him a strong chance to qualify for the semifinals on one hand, and bring him very close to reclaiming the world #1 ranking on the other. And he did it, suffering a lot but fighting until the end, coming back after losing the first set. Even without his best game, the player from El Palmar gave his rival no chance in the final two sets. Carlitos is now very close to reaching the next round, so much so that if Alex de Minaur beats Lorenzo Musetti tonight, he will play without pressure on Thursday against the Italian. Even if the player from Carrera wins, the set of results that would need to occur for Alcaraz not to advance would be, to say the least, quite unusual. That's why his improvement after letting the first set slip away against Fritz in the tiebreak was so important. He didn't seem comfortable at first, but in the key moment, he found his rhythm. At the end of the match, he didn't hold back when talking about his feelings. Even though they weren't the best, he ended up playing at an excellent level, very close to his best form on a surface like indoor hard court, which isn't his favorite. I'm very happy. And tired. At one point, I was exhausted and didn't know what to do, but I found my good tennis. Taylor played very well. I tried to take advantage of the opportunities he gave me. Great level of match. I hope people enjoyed it. Better late than never. In a deeper analysis of what happened, the world #2 emphasized how everything can change in a single point, something that was evident in the 12th game of the second set. I wasn't able to return well against his serve, and I was struggling. But it was very close. At 6-5 in the second set, I got some break points, and I had to take advantage. That was the key moment. From there, he gained confidence and mental strength to play a great third set, taking advantage of the few chances Fritz gave him in the second, and everything went his way afterward. The American analyzed what went wrong for him, admitting to physical problems and praising Alcaraz's defensive quality. Taylor Fritz will be tossing and turning tonight. He played 2 sets of outstanding tennis, had Carlos Alcaraz on the ropes, but ended up losing, collapsing right at the finish line, in what was the most thrilling match so far at the Turin tournament. A match that all but destroys his chances of topping the group and forces him to go all out in the final round. Fritz defined the match in one word: frustration. None fits better to describe what he experienced today, his second match at the 2025 ATP Finals, which are now heating up. The American couldn't close out a Carlos Alcaraz who seemed to have 9 lives, and that's precisely what he lamented in the press conference. His inability to convert on key points and finish the match off still haunts him, as do the missed opportunities spinning in his mind like ghosts that refuse to leave. Analysis of his defeat against Alcaraz. I did a lot of things well today, especially in the first 2 sets. I managed to execute some very tough aspects and maybe let the match slip away by failing in some of the things that usually come easier to me. I was very aggressive with my return and from the baseline. In a few key points, I did that, hit some great returns, deep balls, created the shot I wanted. But didn't do enough with it at times. Carlos has incredible defense, he anticipates and passes you brilliantly. I have to make sure I finish the points off with those balls. Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz battle for world #1 at these ATP Finals. In the last tournament of the season, excluding the Davis Cup, both the Italian and the Spaniard can finish as world #1. However, Alcaraz has the better chance. If he wins 3 matches, he will reclaim the top spot no matter what. He has already won his debut against Alex de Minaur. Sinner, therefore, depends on what Alcaraz does. Meanwhile, he made some unexpected remarks praising Carlitos. Carlos's early elimination there, referring to the Paris Masters 1000, was remarkable. Of course, now there are some scenarios being discussed that I obviously know and follow closely. But if he plays very well, I have no chance, regardless of the final outcome, Sinner said before his match against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Last year I felt great emotion lifting the trophy. And it's something I'd love to experience again, no matter who ends up first at the end of the year. I really want to keep playing excellent tennis like I have in recent months, especially in the last few weeks. One of the keys to playing good tennis is also to be as free as possible. And that's what I'm trying to do, the Italian added, recalling his victory last year in the same venue. Sinner now has 26 consecutive wins on indoor hard courts. Sinner sends a warning to Alcaraz in his Turin debut. Jannik Sinner showed he's coming into the ATP Finals in great form. The Italian debuted in Turin with the full crowd behind him and displayed his trademark solidity. His opponent, Felix Auger alias Sime put up a fight in the first set but couldn't match Sinner's consistency, 7-5, 6-1. Sinner remains the best player in the world in indoor conditions. The Canadian started well, holding serve comfortably and winning rallies. His big serves helped him stay close early on. But by the third game, Sinner started pressing on the return, earning 2 break points that Felix managed to save with strong serves. At 5-4 for the Italian, Auger alias Sime saved a set point and clung to the set, which seemed destined for a tiebreak, until he faltered at 30-0 in his next service game. Sinner kept up the pressure, earned a break point, and converted at the perfect time. First set to him. Auger alias Sime went straight to the locker room to reset and possibly receive treatment. He didn't look comfortable in that final game, and Sinner took the set after a poor sliced shot from the Canadian barely reached the bottom of the net. Whether due to fatigue or injury, Felix appeared uncomfortable. That feeling continued in the second set. Felix returned, but not at his earlier level. Sinner remained unbreakable on serve and broke again, with Felix even hitting a double fault to fall behind. The Canadian tried a forehand but narrowly missed wide. A 4-0 lead for the Italian, including the first set. Auger alias Sime, injured, continued calling for medical timeouts at each changeover. He kept competing on serve, but his movement was clearly limited by physical issues. Still, he chose to finish the match, aware of the special atmosphere of playing in Turin. Again, with Sinner leading 4-1, Felix lost serve once more, volleying weakly at the net, and Sinner quickly closed it out. Victory for Jannik, who will face Alexander Zverev next after the German beat Ben Shelton in his debut. Sinner's post-match comments reflected both ambition and perspective. Competing in the Bjorn Borg group, with Zverev as his next test, the Italian knows what's at stake. Defending 1,500 points and the title he won without dropping a set in 2024 is no small task. At 24, he needs to lift the trophy again to finish the year as world number 1, and hope for an early Alcaraz exit. After both men started with wins worth 200 points each, Alcaraz still leads the live rankings by 1,050 points. Djokovic and Sinner's positive test, that cloud will follow him like COVID followed me. The Serbian opens up in an interview with British journalist Piers Morgan. Novak Djokovic won the 101st title of his career on Saturday after defeating Lorenzo Musetti in the Athens Open 250 final. He later confirmed his withdrawal from the ATP Finals in Turin. Weeks earlier, during the Six Kings Slam in Riyadh, Djokovic sat down for an interview with Piers Morgan that has now been released. Asked about Jannik Sinner's positive test for Clostebol at Indian Wells 2024, Djokovic didn't mince words, that cloud will follow him just like the COVID one followed me. Speaking about the dominance of Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner on tour, Noel added, "Of course, I have doubts about whether I'll win another Grand Slam with those two playing." He also admitted uncertainty about reaching his 25th Grand Slam title, given their level. "Yes, I have more doubts that I can win more Grand Slams, particularly against these two guys," Djokovic acknowledged. Another tense moment came early in the interview when Piers Morgan apologized to Djokovic for previously calling him a liar and an anti-vax icon during his 2022 clash with Australian authorities. The surreal question from a former tennis player to Carlos Alcaraz at a press conference. The Spaniard was stunned by a question from Elena Vesnina, a former Russian tennis professional with an impressive career. His response, and reaction, were priceless. After beating Alex de Minaur in his debut, 7-6, 6-2, at the 2025 ATP Finals, Carlos Alcaraz experienced a surreal moment in the press room when Vesnina directly asked him if he was single. "Congratulations on the victory, I think you've answered all the questions about the match, but I have a different one that interests many girls around the world. Is your heart taken? Are you single?" she asked. A surprised Alcaraz replied, "I'm single," to which Vesnina quipped, "Okay, that was the question." Carlitos then started drinking water, laughing in disbelief at what had just happened mid-press conference. The most surprising part is that this question came from a former professional tennis player with a brilliant career. Vesnina reached the Wimbledon semifinals in 2016 and won 3 WTA singles titles, including Indian Wells, plus 7 other finals. However, her biggest successes came in doubles, where she won 19 titles, including 3 Grand Slams, Wimbledon, Roland Garros, and the US Open, the WTA Finals, the Olympic gold medal at Rio 2016, and numerous other victories in Indian Wells, X3, Madrid, Toronto, and Montreal.